at this little spibe.
Yeah, man.
He's here for the podcast.
Oh my God!
Look at him go. He's having a little drink. He stopped for a little drink.
He's really scary and gross looking, but I don't want to kill him. I'm gonna go get like a thing to save his life.
Okay.
What's the thing?
What?
I don't like this, man.
Just relax. It's a
doing?
spider. Maybe he'll get past.
Look at him. He's having a little drink.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to get him to go onto this.
You won't go. Put him inside it.
So then what's the play after that?
You leave him there for the whole podcast.
There he goes.
He's gonna come out.
No, I want to save his life. I'm going to starve him to death.
He's in there.
Inside of a locked...
in there. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Christ. There he is. Okay, he's okay. I wasn't scared. I just...
You fooled me.
He's around. Is that gonna really upset you this whole time?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not gonna be the one to take his life. Alright?
Okay.
Spider-Man wouldn't want you to do that.
That's
I don't
true.
know. I've
Nobody
never really
dies.
heard Spider-Man's thoughts on spiders.
Well, yeah, we know his thoughts. He gets bitten by a spider and then he goes, "Oh," and he crushes it immediately.
Little fucker!
Jesus! Mild inconvenience. I like how we spent time setting up the background and in 2 passes, it's just leveled.
You know he's gonna end up on me, right?
yeah,
Because
like
I saved his
I
life.
do just keep looking at the floor.
He's over there. Look, he's on the wall.
Oh yeah, I see him.
He'll be fine.
You know, I'm gonna get bit, like in the eyeball, because of this. You don't ever do anything good and it not come back to haunt you. It's not even about. You know what that is? I can tell by how many legs he has. He is what they call a mouse spider.
Really?
They're fucking
got-
harmless.
He's got 8 legs, man. That's what spiders have.
Just like, see, it spins
What
a
are you
web.
talking about?
Spins a web. There's like a bunch of cheese in it. It's like, that's weird.
It's a mouse spider. Mouses don't make cheese.
I know. The joke is that he's captured, that cheese has somehow flown into his web, is the joke.
Oh,
Bloody hell.
I thought you were saying cheese was coming out of him like a web.
No!
Do the right thing. Fuck off. It's his favorite movie.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, the spider. He doesn't like. He hates Spider-Man. Big Spike Lee fan.
Yeah, he came to watch Spider-Man. He's got his popcorn. He's got his big Coke. He's like, let's watch. My name's in the title. I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch it. Oh my God! He killed one of us. This is horrible.
This movie must be all about spiders. Let's see
Spider.
one goddamn spider that whole
It's like
fucking time.
Spider/man. It's like Frost Nixon.
A sit-down interview with a
Yeah,
spider
it's just
and a tiny little spider.
So, newspapers. Why?
Gone and cast Spider-Man as a human again. Classic Hollywood. Human washing.
That's a good... Okay, that's a good segue because, I mean, this is one of the more diverse Marvel movies
The
that
most
I've seen.
diverse
I would say, yeah.
Very
Marvel
cool,
movie.
diverse cast.
It's almost like playing Spot the white person.
Yeah.
Am I right?
That's true. Here, you know how you can find the white people?
Yeah.
They'll be the main character.
Yeah. Peter Parker.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you find them.
We'll make every person in diverse cast. We'll make every character a diverse character, but
No,
not
the
Peter
guy-
Parker.
Spider-Man.
It's
I
like,
mean,
run along, POC.
Let's not-
We have a scene to do.
let's not be ridiculous now.
Like, look, it's definitely a step in the right direction. I don't want to be too cynical.
No, of course
No,
not.
no,
There,
no,
of course,
dude.
there's a part of me that's going like, okay, so all the main characters are still okay. All right, I got it. Like, I'm clocking it. You know what I mean? I'm just paying
Yeah.
attention.
I mean,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as changes that I dislike, I don't want to start this way.
Mary Jane, it should not be
No.
dour and downtrodden. She should be happy,
a happy
and excitable. I just have a real issue with that.
No, you know what? I'm pulling the brakes on that thought. We'll get there. I fucking
You're right, because I
love...
got to intro the show. Welcome to Reasonable Beef Visual Edition.
Yeah.
Pho. Reasonable Beef Pho.
Oh,
This
shit.
is where we have this Vietnamese soup, and we're going to bring it out, and we're all going to enjoy and talk about the film.
Are you going to play...
I wish.
Is the intro going to go over video...
I don't know how we're going to do it.
We have to shoot a title sequence.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Just use all the stuff of Dom running around trying to catch a spider.
We're just going to go to the Friends fountain and just do a bunch of shots there, and like, that's fine.
I would love to do
The
that.
same beef theme song,
Somebody
though.
told me it was Reasonable Beef. Yeah, welcome to Reasonable Beef. My name is Tim E. Kish. This is the visual edition. I'm joined by Whomst.
Dom.
And what else is here?
Jack.
What else?
Jack is here. And of course, joined by always is Nick on the audio.
Yeah.
Mixing St. John. So we saw Spider-Man.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, Homecoming. 2017
Coming on
movie.
home.
Who directed this?
John Watts.
John Watts.
Yeah, I really like the story of John Watts. Though. I love it. Sort of gives me hope that he started out on YouTube and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he did the story of Clown.
That's what I was saying.
Is
It's
like
funny.
he started out on YouTube. He made a parody trailer of who?
Eli Roth.
Eli Roth. And he said that from producer Eli Roth.
And it was like a jab. It was like a
yeah,
haha, fuck
he's taking
you.
the piss out of him.
Yeah.
And it was like this movie called Clown where the clown couldn't get the makeup off, and that was the premise. And then Eli Roth saw it and then got him to make it, and he produced it.
It's an Eli Roth produced movie.
It's really interesting. And then he made Cop Car, which was really great.
Sure, and that's with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So Eli Roth did actually produce a movie, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think it was locked down for a little while, and it wasn't released for a long
But that's what's
time.
weird. The Cop Car came out first, even though that Clown was his
Yeah.
first feature.
So we're kind of seeing this is a Sony produced film, I believe, but we're still seeing.
Sony,
No.
it's both of them.
Okay.
yeah, but it's
Sony and Marvel.
But in all of the initial release things and the way they talk about it, it was, excuse me, it was that they gave basically entire creative control to Marvel.
See, and that's and I
And
mean,
then
they do it
Sony
in
get the
typical-
marketing stuff.
Yeah, in the
Right.
typical Marvel fashion, they get just a guy. Just like I don't want to say no name because that's a little bit of a disservice
Sure.
to him, but obviously he doesn't. He's not a proven,
Young guy
Yeah.
who's up and coming.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
it's
like that.
and they kind of
But I think that they've done the thing that Sony tried to do with the reboot of The Amazing Spider-Man and go, okay, this is a young director who is really, really focused on relationships. He made 500 Days of Summer, so let's do that. And you can clearly see in The Amazing Spider-Man, especially
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
one, the moments where he's getting that stuff through. But clearly here, Cop Car is a coming of age story.
sure.
And that's what Spider-Man: Homecoming is, and they've let him do that rather than having to fight to get that sort of stuff in there.
He's like, I know you did a movie about a clown that eats children. We kind of wanted to do a little bit of something similar. Can you do a high school Spider-Man movie, PG-13, no blood, no violence? I really think that'd be up your alley.
but
You
it's
know, I made Cop Car. Have you seen that? No, just make the Spider-Man movie.
Is that the
funny,
one where they
though.
want to be cops? It's like, no, that's Let's Be Cops. I
like that
I haven't
movie.
seen it, but I like that one.
I feel like to say it's similar to Guardians, I think is too far of a stretch. But in that.
In the attitude of the punk rock, quote unquote punk rock aesthetic of the whole
Right,
thing.
but no, I mean in that it is separate or was allowed to be separate, but I think what it does really, and I was just saying this in my opinion is the strongest, fits the best out of any of them.
To what?
into the
universe. I feel like it was the cleanest little thing, and it's because of the script. I think the script was really almost every step of the way. I think they did really smart stuff. And I think it's a really smart movie. And I don't mean that it's a great this
smartly put
great.
together.
Yeah, but it's
Absolutely.
just they were not shitting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolute no shit.
They weren't
at
shitting.
all. Nobody shit the 9 months this film was in production.
That's what
They
made
were
it so
just,
good.
very swollen.
Yeah.
Here's the final reel. I
Can I take
got
this
something-
tape off now?
I got something to take care of.
The staples are hurting.
So the film opens with the Sony pops up, runs, Paramount runs. Then we go into
Columbia.
Columbia, I apologize, not Paramount. Columbia runs. We go into the film. It's the origin story for Adrian Toomes, the villain.
Yeah.
And they just do it.
Yeah.
Which
Quick.
is already very cool. Does another one open with the villain?
No. But that was immediately, you could tell they're doing something different because they're doing the legwork.
Yeah.
They're willing to give the villain enough screen time to make him matter. And that's something that Marvel
dude.
doesn't really do too much.
This movie was, I keep saying this, its consequences and context are fucking so strong in this movie.
Yeah.
You understand, and by context, I mean that this is one of the first times ever, because it's weird to say, because I understand that the Raimi movies, they took place in their own thing, and you
Right.
were to assume, they kind of hint that there's other superhero shit going on. There's a Doctor Strange reference.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, in Spider-Man
Raimi?
2.
Yeah.
He's like, what do we call this guy? And then one of the guys is like, Doctor Strange. And he goes, that's good, but it's taken.
oh, man.
So-
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, like, and it feels like they were always sort of skirting
And
around
in Spider-Man
it.
1 as well, obviously they didn't have any clue what they were doing. But in Spider-Man 1, there's like loads of references to like Eddie Brock. Eddie's been trying for weeks. He can barely get a glimpse of it. And he goes,
And then
oh,
they
I was
retcon it
late
with
and Dr.
3.
Connors fired me.
Yeah.
Like they're clearly like planting all this stuff.
Right.
And then they sort of mess it up with their own continuity in the first one.
Absolutely.
Right.
But they are always trying to make it like, oh, there's a comic book world.
Yeah.
But
There's
it's
that line in 3 where he says, well, let me go ask my friend Daredevil about the symbiote thing. So like that's another
Right, yeah.
small.
When he looks at the camera and he says, I first appeared in 1962 in Amazing Fantasy
This
number
looks
15.
like a job for Wolverine.
Yeah. My friend.
My friend Wolverine.
The X-Man. Have you heard of the X-Men? Hi, I'm Spider-Man. I'm here to...
The X-Men? This looks like a job for the Fantastic Four. Do the legwork with Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, and they have this really nice build-up. You see that he lost the thing to Tony Stark.
Yes.
He's angry about it. He moves into it, and there's this line at the end of it where they decide he's going to start salvaging.
Oh, yeah, you love
he
this.
says, "Business is good," and then it cuts, and then the Marvel logo plays. So it opens with Sony, and then it. At that line switches to Marvel, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. As like a guy who loves the marketing aspect
Yeah,
of everything,
all the sort of behind the scenes stuff.
like they know.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's so much audience signaling in this movie.
There
like,
really is.
with Aunt May, like the nods to like, yeah, we know that
Yeah.
she's
That
I
she's
don't
not
love
usually
that,
hot.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's,
neither do
it's
I.
maybe it's legitimate. I think it might be my least.
I think my biggest
favorite
complaint
thing
of
in
the
the movie.
movie is I
Is
don't
Aunt May
think-
really?
Yeah, I
Yep.
don't like Marissa Tomei as Aunt May.
I don't like what they're doing. I don't like that Aunt May.
Like,
To
we
me,
would-
I can look past so many other things. Because when you think about this, as much as this is like climbing the ranks of my fave Spidey movies, like we've already said, it's at
Yeah.
least the third favorite, and it's maybe fighting for a place a couple spots higher.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I can look past. It's not his suit. He's all these fucking gadgets. He's got a drone. He talks to a computer.
Right.
Like, that's not. If you listed all that stuff and you asked me what superhero that was, I'd say go.
Oh,
fuck
Mini Iron Man.
yourself. Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I love that guy.
My favorite Image Comics villain.
Imagine that conversation. Okay, there's a guy. He's got a drone. He talks to a computer.
Yeah.
His suit has loads of gadgets. What
Yes.
superhero is that? Go fuck yourself.
Jesus Christ! I wanted
Cut to Go Fuck Yourself, issue 1.
You like comics? I wanted to do some trivia. Like, chill, because of the strong fucking context, and this is like the first time I'm really feeling the universe thing beyond like the first Avengers, and they're all together for the first time.
Yeah.
I felt the presence of the universe be a
Absolutely.
fucking asset.
I completely agree.
I was like, oh my god, I know where we are, and you're showing me a little lower, down,
Yeah.
a little
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah,
off in the corner.
Sure.
With Marissa Tomei as Aunt May, though, like we were just talking about this, like, and I'm sure it's been said somewhere else as well. Why does she have sexual tension with her nephew? It's really fucking weird.
What? That didn't
Don't
clock
even
to
fuck-
me at all.
Well, then there's
Well, hang on. So here's the thing. Let me counter. Okay. So your parents die, right? And you end up with your aunt. Who is it? It's not going to be this moo wearing old lady who's
well,
presenting.
also, I'm
understand.
totally for that. I'm
and
totally for
obviously, his actual relation is Uncle Ben,
right.
because Parker.
Yeah.
That's his actual like person. So, fuck, Ben Parker married. I get that and all, but like,
And it didn't clock as sexual tension to me. It clocked as
Well, but
he's
not
put,
re-
so
not-
he's
obviously
put
not
upon
really.
on his aunt, right, who has to take care of him now.
Right.
And he's changing in multiple ways now. He's fucking Spider-Man, and he's also like going through sex. She never has kids. She doesn't know how to handle that. She never wanted this. So it's like, I don't think there's sexual tension as much as she's just this older woman who like doesn't know how to approach it. She's like, yeah, no, I go to parties too. And like,
you
she knows
in that
what's up.
sentence said more for her character than is in the movie. That's 2 hours and 13
That's
minutes
true,
long.
but if I can infer that, like, they don't need to spend too much time with Aunt May. In fact,
See-
I would have more issues with it if they're like, oh, let's put some more Aunt May screen time in.
Why?
No, it's
Like,
not about. I don't think it's about screen time. I think it's
not-
about how she acts and what she
yeah,
does.
when she's there. It feels maybe it's just.
I don't know. It's an interpretation thing, isn't it? But it's even like the moment where like he slides in, sort of like Risky Business style,
Right,
and he's
right.
like, "May, I need your help," and then it
Right.
cuts to her, and she does this cute little perky thing, and I
It's
was
just
like,
weird. It's like
it doesn't.
What are you
it doesn't
doing?
sit right with me in some way. I can't even really explain it. There's just, but
And
there's all
I
that stuff
think
when
you
she's.
guys just don't want to fuck Aunt May. I think deep down, you like,
No,
inside, you know, no.
brother,
Aunt May
you
is
have
not
it
to fuck.
backwards.
Oh,
all right. I
she needs
want
to get older.
when she's like, everyone needs a hero. I'm like, yeah. I'll fuck Fuck yeah.
When he smashes that money bag against the wall, that's when I nut.
Yes, you can. You can take this money from me. For God's sakes, it's not much. Now take me.
I can't even look at a toaster and without like kind of popping
Get
a
a little bit of a boner. No, but it's what I'm getting at is like for some reason the Aunt May thing is a thing I'm having a hard time looking past.
Right.
Like MJ being not named Mary Jane. Like her
Right,
name
okay,
is
sure.
like she's called MJ because her name is Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I'm Michelle. You can call me the famous comic character, Mary Jane Watson. Oh, all right. Is that really you? Fine. Yeah, my friends called me Nightwing.
Should use your real name, Mr. Greenland.
But like, I don't know. Like that stuff doesn't bother me because there's still like a spirit in it that I understand and I get. And even with MJ, like Gwen versus MJ was like MJ was sort of party girl, aloof. Didn't seem like a serious thing, and then she was because Gwen died, and then Peter and MJ came together.
Right. Well, her whole thing is that she seems to be this like vapid beauty queen, but really she's actually
got a lot going on.
She's
But
layered.
It's interesting because they're doing Hermione with her, right?
Well, let's talk about this MJ thing.
What's more is so I do not like this interpretation of MJ at all. I really disliked it, and I feel like I can't say that because there is such like a gross tinge on it of people being mad that they cast her as Zendaya or as a black woman. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with the fact that this character is Ali Sheedy from The Breakfast Club or the yellow Power Ranger from the new Power Rangers movie, which is also a Breakfast Club send-up. But it's this character of the dark, artsy girl. It's like, oh, I'm just here to watch your suffering. Look at my photo. It's like, okay, yes, you're very gloomy and mysterious.
But that's not how it reads.
What? Well, don't tell me how it fucking reads
but
for me. I read this shit.
Sorry, I meant more.
I read it and I'm like, oh, this sucks. It's how I read it.
I disagree. I think she pulls off maybe arguably not the best lines
and you know,
not the best stuff. And she
might be it. There's really, frankly, no dialogue for her. Everything she says is like this.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Like to me, I don't get the gloomy like, oh, isn't she cool because she has such a dark perspective. I was picking up. Like, I don't know, it's like she thinks everything's kind of funny even. Like, even when she's talking about I want to go and protest and stuff, there's this, I don't know, it seemed like loose. It seemed like airy. It didn't seem like, it was really like, yeah, the world is terrible.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot, and I think that it's like setting up. I have a lot of thoughts on how famous characters are reinterpreted into new movies.
Yes.
So, like, there's this whole fucking trend at the moment. Like in Star Trek, we had it with Benedict Cumberbatch being cast as not Khan,
right?
And then he in the movie goes, "I am Khan," and everyone in the audience goes, "Who fucking cares?" Yeah. And then you've got the same thing that happened in Spectre when Christoph Waltz was cast as not Blofeld, and then he goes, "My name is Blofeld," and we go, "Who fucking cares?" Because it changes absolutely nothing in the movie. But in this, I feel like it does. I feel like when she says, "Oh, my friends call me MJ," which I already think is up there as an iconic line. Like, I think it's going to go down as my friends call me MJ. I think that's I'm already seeing that on like a lot of things, and it feels like a little nice line. But it also her character arc, even though she's not even a secondary character, she's like a fourth or fifth character.
Sure.
Yeah, she's
like her character arc fucking reads. Like at the beginning, like one of her first lines is, "I don't have any friends," and at the end. She does. At the end, she says, "My friends call me MJ," and it's like her accepting this group. And so for me, that makes me like it more.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she's saying, "Oh, call me this now because we're a collective," but also the fact that it's a reference to a very famous comic book character.
I liked you saying it because that even like just because on the same point, like I feel like it. Because you said it this way. You said it's not just a reveal. It's not just like a, hey, we pulled the rug out from under you.
It's not a wink to the audience.
It's baked into a character thing, a character arc that actually makes sense. Like she changes who she actually is at the end. And then the name also comes along with, I'm kind of like a different personality.
Their whole decathlon team has this arc that happens without Peter, which I think is exactly what you do for Spider-Man, where his life is going on without him. It's moving on without him, and he's going to go do Spider-Man stuff. And that's something that will happen for his entire career as Spider-Man. And I'm like, oh, they get it. They get it. They get what he sacrifices. It's not like big shit. Somebody doesn't have to die. He's just losing the moments of his life.
One of my favorite moments in the whole film is when they go, hey, we're going swimming, come with us.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to somebody who looks like him from the back jumping in.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, is he taking a moment? And then it pans up and there he is watching it. And you're like, this is a
That's
little bit
Spider-Man.
heartbreaking.
There he is.
Yeah, and he's like choosing this over his own life.
Similarly, when he's trying to get back because he found out that the thing is a bomb and Ned has it in the back for the Washington Monument thing, when it cut to, okay, we're in final. What do they call it? Like
Jeopardy.
Yes, when they are on Jeopardy.
Destination.
Yes, when in Spider-Man: Homecoming,
All Fox.
when they're playing Family Fortunes.
stock.
when they begin, and it cuts, and you're like, oh, you think he maybe is gonna make it and get there like at the end and save it with
Or
the
even
final
with the
answer.
homecoming dance, you're like, oh, is he going to try and like balance both?
Yeah.
No,
And then-
he just leaves it.
And then it's like in the middle, and it's also they don't even make a big like thing about it. It's just it cuts, and it's like, hey, final, whoever gets this answer wins, and you're like, oh, he didn't get to do it at all. He completely missed it. They're all gonna be mad at him. Did you notice? I noticed it this time, second time. By the way, we saw this 2 times in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Their team are the Tigers. That's their sports team.
Lol.
And it's almost like an indie movie. You know how in indie movies, like in Juno, it cuts to a different season, and then you have all the guys like who are on a running team run past.
Right.
Yeah.
In this movie, when every act starts, they have the tiger mascot run across the screen. It's a very
He's, like, running in
weird
the
indie
hallway.
movie high school thing that
Yeah.
they do. It's kind of interesting.
And I was immediately like, oh, Peter's gonna join a team.
Right.
He's gonna be a Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
MJ.
He's going to say.
He's gonna say.
Yeah.
Face it, Tony.
You're great. So, and another thing. So basically, we've been having a discussion.
Are we gonna do?
Yeah, like sort of world building predictions.
Okay,
because I think this movie is
That's interesting.
is
Okay.
textured to fuck. I think it's
Absolutely.
so like
good base.
brilliantly like placed
And
around.
again, I think maybe the first time and the strongest time that all of this, hey, we're planting seeds for a thing that's gonna come up, felt pitch perfect.
It doesn't feel
didn't
like-
fuck the movie up.
Yeah.
It felt like it was still part of it. I love it. It was amazing.
It doesn't feel like threads that aren't finished. It feels like they're just dropping things in dialogue that feel really
Exactly.
natural. But you go, hang on, does that mean something?
because in the
And not to
movie
beat
it
up-
doesn't mean something,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's sort of like it's fine. It doesn't
but they
feel
are just setting
unfulfilled.
loads of shit
Not
up.
to beat up on Amazing Spider-Man, but that's one of my biggest
Yeah.
issues with it as well. And I mean,
Because that feels like unfinished threads.
yeah. And also the unbelievability of the high school setting on that
Oh,
one.
yeah, fuck that
Yeah,
noise.
I harp on that all the time, but this is... I think it's sort of genius that they set it at like a school for really smart kids because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we could just have a group of weird fucking high schoolers,
Right.
Yeah.
and just rationalize that away
because
as
it's already
this.
a little off. So maybe
Yeah.
when they're talking to each other a certain way, you're like,
You're like,
Yeah, well, they're
high schoolers don't
nerds.
talk
Like,
to each other like
yeah, but
this.
they're
It's like,
all
well, they're all
nerds.
young geniuses.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Okay.
here's the deal.
So the first thing is that this whole movie is in a way set around moving the Avengers from New York to.
"You gonna let me drop this box?"
Yeah,
up? Just
absolutely.
set-
Yeah. So
oh,
like
yeah.
they're moving from the New York Stark Tower to upstate, and they're moving all of it. They're taking all of it away. And so I said to Dom, "Who has he sold that tower to?"
Norman Osborn.
Oh yeah,
That is Oscorp, motherfucker.
Imagine in the second movie seeing that A come down and seeing it replaced with Oscorp. You're just gonna go, and you're just gonna start wanking
Oh, no.
right there, then and there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And like American Son or whatever the fuck the art. What was the what is it? Iron Patriot. They already did Iron
yeah,
Patriot,
sure.
which is weird. Because
Yeah, I
now
guess they
Spidey's
did.
part of
well,
it.
so I mean, we could also like, well, Iron Patriot wouldn't happen for a long time anyway.
yeah, no, we got to know Norman. We got to get Green Goblin. He's
yeah.
gotta,
But like, I'm kind of hoping that it goes up and it's not the plot of the next movie.
Yeah.
that'd be fine. Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm fucking sick of Goblin. I don't want to see it anymore for a long time.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
I really want them to do a movie the way that they did the Green Goblin in Spectacular Spider-Man, where the whole time, even though I know that Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin,
Right,
I'm
you
watching
think
it being
he's-
like, who is
Is it not
Yeah.
him? Because
Yeah.
they do that a lot. You're like, wait,
That's
is
true.
it? Well, what they do is you don't. It's basically, is it Harry or is it Norman?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know.
Because Harry's
I
having a
don't
drug
have no
problem and
fucking
stuff.
idea.
Yeah, it's and it's yeah. I feel like they could do it, but I also agree that like they could just start having Oscorp in New York now
Yeah.
rather than having Stark Tower in there, and it's the same tower. That's like a really smart fucking thing they could do.
Absolutely. And I guess it kind of Marvel doesn't have any films set in New York now, so it's like, all right, Sony, you could just
Yeah.
all the shit that happens in New York is all you guys.
Yeah.
There you go.
The next thing, I think this is the most obvious one. I think a lot of people are going to point this out. Is that Donald Glover's character is the Prowler.
Yes.
And that makes him Miles Morales' uncle.
His name is Aaron Davis, which is literally Ultimate Prowler. That's his name.
wow.
So that means that right now Miles Morales exists in this
He's there.
universe, and he's about 10 years old.
He says, "I have
He
a
said,
nephew."
I got family in this neighborhood.
Yeah, my
I want
nephew.
these weapons.
He says my nephew is in this
He
neighborhood.
literally says, "My nephew."
Yeah. So that means that in about 3 movies' time, I think maybe in the 4th movie, it will be called something like Brand New Day, and it will be like Spider-Man Peter Parker handing over the mantle to Miles Morales.
That'd be very interesting. What else?
What were the other? What were the
What
other
were the other
calls?
ones?
There's
I need
ano-
this listicle, guys. There needs to be 5
So
minimum.
okay, so there's other things.
There, I didn't notice the first time I read it online. He doesn't have spider sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I said we were talking about this
Yeah,
after the
straight
film.
away,
Oh, yeah, I didn't-
At least they never call attention to it, which is fascinating because I'm hoping that maybe they'll address that.
I
Where
think
because
he's gonna get it or
He's
something.
growing, right?
Yeah.
His body is growing, so like
Yeah, he
it
hasn't
might be
developed
interesting to
everything
see
yet.
His powers, develop like naturally, not just with the suit.
Yeah, imagine the thing in the next movie where he's like, "What the
keeps
fuck?"
having
He
those,
keeps
like-
having it, and he's like,
Yeah.
"What is it?" Yeah.
I'm kind of hope. Yeah, that might be interesting. I'm actually kind of hoping that he moves more towards like his own natural ability and away from because that was an issue with. This is a very nitpicky issue, but I'm like the suit makes him a little overpowered at this. He's got a
Yeah.
lot of powers
Yes.
now.
And I agree. Like
However, his web shooters have always been able to do that sort of stuff. They've just made it more Iron Man.
Yeah, but it was always ramshackle. He was always doing it in his apartment, like and he didn't have AC because he has no, and because he spent it all on web fluid,
Yeah.
and he's sitting there, and it's all kind of shitty, but it's still really well made because Peter Parker's a genius. But like kind of having it
That's
straight
the
up,
that's
like
the
here's
thing.
586 combinations of web shooters. It's
Yeah, yeah, but I like the fact that he's still making the web himself. And whenever anyone brings
Yeah.
up the conversation with me of like, oh, natural versus organic versus the mechanical web shooters, I
Right.
always go to mechanical, and I say because it's a character thing, it makes it clear that Peter Parker is a genius. He's a scientific
Right.
genius.
Absolutely.
But no one ever really cares because that's never been shown in the movies before. But
Yeah.
now it is.
In
and
this
it raises
movie-
the stakes.
Yeah.
And it
This
raises the
movie-
stake he could run on a web cartridges.
totally.
Yep. This movie particularly did a good job of like, oh right, Peter's like smart. Like
Yeah.
he's not just he was smart in high school. Oh,
You know,
he
the
won
worst,
chess
my
comp-"
least favorite thing in the Amazing, well, not my least favorite thing, but one of my least favorite things in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is when he's looking up on YouTube how to do something scientific, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you're Peter Parker,
Right.
You should know how to do this. Like, I'm watching
Yeah.
it and being like, why are you doing it like to make him look more normal?
Sure.
I don't want him to be a normal guy.
You know what's kind of sick? How the cartridges pop like
Yeah.
that,
clips.
yeah, I
That's
really
fucking
like
rad.
that.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I really
I would
like that.
say I agree with you again. Conceptually, like the suit thing, it does bother me. Like it doesn't ring true with Spider-Man, but I think it serves as an extension of the big world he's accidentally become a part of.
Right.
Because literally the idea of him, it's not a very hidden metaphor, but the fact that he bypasses the thing that's supposed to keep him grounded and let him learn at the speed he's supposed to learn at.
Right.
They literally rip it out of the suit. Ned changes the programming or whatever. That's like him saying, I don't need to be in high school. I don't
Yeah.
need to be a kid. I just want to be an Avenger, blah, blah, blah. And then the idea is like, you don't know you don't even understand, like, he doesn't understand his responsibility. He doesn't understand how much power he
Right.
has. And it's like and they do that the whole time too, even with just his strength, with just how about that whole sequence where he's dragged along with the van and he's
Yeah.
chasing the van? He fucks up like 7 houses on the way,
Yeah.
he, like falling through the fence and through the shed,
Brings
and
down a tree house.
And he's so inexperienced.
and I
That's
love
so
that.
much fun.
I love it so fucking much. And also, just on that note, I've been waiting since I was probably forever. Fuck. Since
I was
since
eternal.
I never, since I saw all moments at once, to see Spider-Man swinging around in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's where I live,
He's
and
not-
so like
Yep.
I was.
He's not swinging in Manhattan at all in this. Like
He's literally never
you
in
see
Manhattan,
Stark Tower and you see like all the stuff happening in Manhattan, but he's never
never
there.
there.
Yeah. There's no reason for him to be. He doesn't live there.
But I
think
like
that's
the
very
fact that like
interesting.
I think that in movie 2 or movie 3 when you like finally see
It'll.
Thank you.
when you see him swinging in Manhattan, you're going to get goosebumps. There's going to be a huge
Yeah.
moment about him being in the center of New York.
And also,
this is-
he'll be like 18 by
Yep.
then, and like
He's gonna go to college there. He's gonna go to fucking Oscorp University or whatever bullshit. But like,
probably Horizon Universe or something.
That's probably
They'll probably tie it in. I mean, because
Horizon, I've noticed they're slipping.
working it into the canon.
Yeah.
Because it's in the XD series where they show up at Horizon Labs. I'm like, that's interesting. Because that's like a last 5 or 6
That's probably
years
where he'll
kinda
meet
thing.
Harry.
Yeah.
I think he'll meet Harry there.
That'd be cool.
At college?
Yeah.
In college?
They also don't. We don't talk about Uncle Ben in this movie.
That's what I was about to get to as well.
And I would like to.
No one mentions it.
Yeah. Well, they nod to
What
ever
happened
since
to
what
May.
happened to May,
Right.
where I can't put her.
Oh,
through that.
do they say
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
Since we know what happened to
Oh,
May,
I've missed that
I
both
couldn't
times.
possibly put her through that, and it's
Right.
like, well, what happened to Ben? And it almost seems like it's not weighing on Peter's mind, so
yeah.
it makes me think like, did they get rid of that? Which is kind of an instrumental part of Spider-Man, but at the same time, we've kind of had this new philosophy of like, what fucking whatever, dude, who cares?
just
like,
go.
just adapt
Just
the character
music,
however you
fun.
want, whatever, make it work. That's fine.
Yeah.
So part of me, the comic book nerd part of me goes like, okay, the excision of Uncle Ben's death being his sort of responsibility kind of loses a lot from Peter, but I don't know, maybe they'll offset it with something else. Or
It's all,
maybe,
we're
I mean,
watching it.
maybe we just
Yeah,
don't know.
it looks like
Yeah.
he's learning his lessons slower.
We're watching it happen.
It
And
feels like
And
Tony Stark.
but who's gonna die? Is
Tony
the question.
Stark, probably.
If Tony Stark is his Uncle Ben,
Oh my God.
holy Christ!
Because he already
Just
is.
taking a moment.
Like, the new great power, great responsibility is
Uh-huh.
if you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Like, so that's his whole thing.
Yeah. And again, as you're saying, like when you were saying, we know when he finally does swing through Manhattan again, and we get that visual after it's gonna be fucking 4 years or whatever since we've seen it before. That's gonna. You're right. We're just stretching out the origin a little longer.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it feels like we're covering more ground. It feels better. It feels like it's like by taking its time, it's somehow gotten.
But it's saying more about Peter Parker, and that's who we
Yeah,
really care
totally.
about. Like, it's giving us more about who he is.
And
Like, I thought about this a lot. I've been going over it like in the past, since I've seen it, 24 hours. And my favorite moment in the movie is the bit where like a guy randomly goes, "Hey, you're that Spider guy from YouTube."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, call me Spider-Man." He goes, "Okay, Spider-Man, do a flip." And then he does it, and
such a
he
great
just
moment.
does it.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Yeah." That's my favorite moment because he's just like,
That's Spider-Man. Too.
That's
That's
it.
like Spider-Man to me.
It's because that's
course
just
you would
such a
do it.
surreal, and it's very like Tim and Eric that moment. It's two really fat dudes, and the one's like, "Hey, yeah, Spider-Man!" Like it's all really high voice. It's like and he's sort of blurred out of frame. He's not in focus. Like
Yeah.
that is so funny and
Yeah.
strange.
Do a flip.
And so welcome. Like so welcome. That's like a touch of it. And they have obviously another touch of Tim and Eric is the school news program,
man.
which
Oh,
is just
God.
so deftly done.
yeah,
just like
it's
really,
so YouTube.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really YouTubey. It's fucking weird to see that in a movie like this.
Oh, it's really and
Yeah.
like with the they
Zoom
fuck up the
in.
layering, like the things over them, and it's behind
it's on
them.
the bit
It's like
when she's like, "I've
so
already got a
funny.
date," and then it zooms in on him, and he just sort of like just
goes,
looks
okay.
just looks in lens for a moment. Yeah,
a nice little line. For the first time ever, Marvel has given nod to their TV properties, their Netflix properties.
Yeah,
where he
in
says
a
like,
really
"This is
meta
above
way.
you." Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like this. He stops. Tony stops him. He's like, "This is above you." And he's like, "Oh, well, where are the Avengers?" He's like, "Well, this is a little below them." There's a group of guys that handles this
he
kind of
says
thing.
there's
he
people who
says that
handle
it's,
this.
it's
Yeah, and
above-
I'm like-
it's a little above their pay grade.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like so. At least we're
Yeah.
acknowledging because
I-
there is the politics of TV Marvel versus film Marvel
Yeah.
being headed by different people. Like
don't really talk to
TV
each
is
other.
controlled by comic books Marvel, as far as I know, whereas Marvel
know.
Studios kind of controls the films. Perlmutter, I believe, is the CEO of Marvel, and we talked about this briefly, but they have some kind of apparently some sort of clashing of wills. I don't know.
Well, it's that weird thing where they're getting to in TV, they have to do an episode a week. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has 20 plus episodes every season. They're going to start covering more ground than the movies can, so they're going to just start having all these crazy fucking storylines. So it's basically like it's getting out of hand, I think.
Yeah.
And Marvel is like,
Yeah.
They need to
shit.
consolidate that.
They gave their cousin a job, and then he's like gone off and
Another-
he's selling.
It's becoming like the Arrowverse in not a great way. The Arrowverse works because it's first of all not connected to DCU, and it's pulp, pure pulp. They don't give a fuck. They're like, yeah, here's this hero. Now here's 6 of these heroes.
Right.
We got them all.
yeah.
I'm getting another beer.
Oh, could you get me one, please?
This movie probably had more posters than I'd ever seen
I
another
know.
movie
And
have.
not a good
and
one.
I feel like it's just because they're like, no, not that one. No, we got this one. Never mind. Fuck that one. We got this one.
I looked
And
at
it's
like the new the show on Netflix, Glow.
yeah.
Why does that have a better like character poster than a Spider-Man movie?
Yeah, dude.
That is so strange to
question.
me.
I feel
Why
like it
does
looks
that-
like there was no lighting work done on that poster. Like everything.
all the
is
lights coming from
same-
different directions.
Yeah,
It's just weird when these things are like assumably. It's not just a guy. Ultimately, there's not
No.
like the dude who says that's the right poster.
Hey, marketing.
I am Sony. You may proceed. It's like there's a bunch of people who had to say, look at that and pat and say, yep, looking good.
Sure.
Like that always blows my mind.
right.
Like,
Like
how
those are separate teams. Like if the designer isn't good and their management isn't good, they're gonna like okay shit that the
Yeah,
other
but
teams
I
like, don't
know,
even
I
like. It
know.
doesn't all go up the chain.
again,
to, like the top is top.
It comes back to like, really, Spider-Man? Like,
But
like,
you look at all the posters that, like, I
agree.
know we're in LA at the moment, but like, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but all the posters around LA are fucking great. Like, you've
Sure.
got the one of him like chilling in his little web hammock.
Yeah.
You've got the
Yeah.
one of him and Iron Man swinging together and flying together. And
Which
that looks pretty cool.
trailer shot,
Yeah.
not
that
the
was,
movie.
that was made just for the
They
trailer.
also,
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the plane
looks different.
choreography in the trailer,
flipped.
isn't he standing on the one wing and using both hands like this?
Well, I think a lot of the shots are flipped, and also it's not a hologram. Like,
Right.
The
Right,
plane
yeah,
is just
yeah.
a normal plane and stuff like that.
That's because they were working on. They're like, all right, we need to make sure that anyone epileptic dies.
yeah, sure.
This is gonna take months, and we're not ready for the trailer. You will get what you get.
Oh no, man! It's just like we're not rendering this shit for a trailer. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? It's a plane. It's a
Yeah.
normal ass plane.
It really
a cool
bothers me.
idea, but that flashiness in that ending was like,
It's a bit much.
it's a little much.
The marketing, I mean, obviously, it really, really bothers everybody because everyone was like, "Oh, great, thanks for showing me the movie."
Yeah.
But like,
But I
they've-
found
they've-
that it's not. That's
it's
not what
not.
it is.
Yeah,
No.
and I knew they'd done this from when I saw it. I was like, "Oh, they're showing us all the action because they're going, please come see it. Look how big and cool it is."
Right.
When really, it's a high school movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of his like, we're in the neighborhood. Like again, the fact that they're not in Manhattan ever. That it's like, what's the first big action sequence? In the bank, in the ATM,
Yeah,
and which
probably,
is
yeah.
already like
Yeah.
immediately it's like, all right, it's a Spider-Man thing. The first action sequence really is him in a like the little
In a room?
ATM room.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
And then like, what's the next one? The chase through the neighborhood. And
Yeah.
again, that's like a neighborhood. He's
Yeah.
holding onto a van
Yeah.
and jumping over. And I also love, again, consequences, limitations are very clear in this movie. What he can do and what he cannot do. Like the fact that when he's running after the van, you're sort of like, you would think when you think, okay, Spider-Man's chasing after a van, of course he's gonna get it.
Yeah.
But then you're like, no, I mean he can run kind of fast,
Well,
but he's not
also-
going to run
but
50
he's-
miles an
more
hour.
importantly,
Like,
he's 15. He
he's
doesn't
15's
like
not even all
know
the way
what
there.
he's doing.
and just like when you're watching him struggle to keep up, and when you're watching like climbing up the Washington Monument, when he gets to the top, I felt like every time
He's scared of heights.
he's
Sure.
scared. Yeah,
That's interesting.
he's never been. And also when he gets to Manhattan, there's going to be that thing of like, fuck.
Because you know, like in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, when like he's learning how to use his powers, and one of the
Right.
first things he does, I don't know how the fuck he gets away
Jump
with this,
off a building.
but he gets to the top of a roof and looks down and goes, "Cool, I'm gonna do a
fucking
handstand. I'm gonna do a fucking
Oh, God,
handstand
yeah,
and let
yeah,
myself
yeah.
fall." Who knows if these web shooters are going to work from up here? I haven't tested it. And then he does it, lands on a table, and just gets down, and no one sees it.
Yeah.
And like that pisses me off. Whereas in this
It's
movie,
hard to believe,
they're doing
yeah.
it a lot slower, and it feels like they're really building it. Like he gets to the top of the Washington Monument, and the police come in and go, "Get the fuck down!"
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
That is what happens, and that's really
Yeah.
really cool that they're actually looking about the consequences of what Spider-Man does in the
Right.
world.
That is a fun action sequence where he jumps off the top and swings around in the helicopter.
Yeah, I
and goes
wish I
through. I'm
hadn't
like,
seen it.
Yeah.
Yep. And
See, I kept myself from a lot of the marketing. I didn't watch many of the trailers,
Same.
so a lot of that was fresh to me.
The fact that they released an iPhone version of the Spider-Man theme that goes over the Marvel logo, and we all
What?
saw it. You know, the
Oh,
Spider-Man
Michael
theme.
Giacchino. Yeah, it's
Michael
weird.
Giacchino's iPhone video of them playing
Oh yes, yes.
the theme. The fact that they released that, if they didn't release that and we all saw that in the cinema, I think I would have like creamed right there.
Oh,
And
sure.
but like I knew it was coming.
Sure.
And so I was like the whole
Yeah.
time I was like, okay, that's going to be. It was almost like every scene in this movie, every act had a. Oh no, I know it's not over yet because I know Hulk has to catch Iron Man.
right.
right.
But
yeah.
every act had
Yeah.
one or two of those.
I remember
Right.
the first time, I might even have said this in some incarnation of Beef before, but I remember seeing the Tigger movie. And it was the first time I clocked, I know we're not near the end yet because he isn't in the snow yet. And I remember that from the trailer. I remember sitting in the theater and being like, you ain't fooling me, you bitch. I said that to my dad.
Tigger movie.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Quiet.
I just imagine, like, that's fun to imagine that, like, after 110 minutes of just relative silence, your 8-year-old son turns to you and goes, "You're not fooling me, you bitch."
It's like, Jesus.
Watch
The dog.
It's a Tigger, Dad.
There was a whole song about it.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I felt every time he got hurt. This is a big thing with Tim H. He says a lot. He said it with Wonder Woman. It made me laugh. Where it's like, when you're watching them just throw each other around, you're like, okay, but I almost did it.
That's like a Tim impression happening right there.
Tim impression. That is so fucking funny.
I almost did Tim. Okay. He says like, yeah, but okay, so like, did that one hurt?
Yeah.
Did that hurt?
You're just watching two powerful people hit each other, and whoever hits each other harder
in this
is the
movie,
winner.
Yeah.
Every time he got actually hurt or was winded or something was hard, I was like, yeah, I get it. I feel it. Him trapped under the thing is like, did you not feel, like, did your chest not feel like compressed a little bit? You're like, fuck.
And that's kind of a recreation of that classic Spider-Man, cover with, like,
you know, like I want to know. I don't think I do recognize it, but the bit when he's lifting it up, the way it's framed looks like a comic book panel.
Sure.
And I don't know if it is a reference to something. It
Well,
must be
the
in
one
some
when
way.
he's under with the water dripping on him.
Yeah, he's got that. I forget. I forget.
30-second or something.
Right.
And I do want to talk about Shocker. I did like how they kind of flipped the expectation. We're having the first guy dressed like Shocker. He's got the jacket on.
Schultz,
yeah, and he's like that. He gets
And then
killed.
at the end,
like,
that
no,
other guy's got the jacket.
it's the other guy.
Yeah.
And the other guy's Bokeem Woodbine, who is like an amazing actor. And I'm like, why is he? It's not below him, right? He's just an actor of such a caliber that playing a secondary villain who says like 20 things.
Like he's the black guy who goes, damn. They've cast him as that guy.
That's very true. And like he was on season 2 of Fargo.
Big time.
As Mike Milligan, who was kind of like this waxing philosophical mafia hit, like black mafia hitman in the 70s, who's like all about kind of getting his and like getting power and like subjugating the world because he's like a black man and he wants to, you know, proceed forward in the world. And it's just like a really well done character. And it's like, I would love seeing more of him, but I want to see him challenged more. I want people to recognize, like, oh, this is like a fucking fine,
and you know what's funny though is like
actor.
these things like, you know, I kind of felt like Robert Downey Jr., no pun intended, was phoning it in.
Yeah.
In this movie.
It's kind of like somebody was doing a Tony Stark impression.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I was
He
sort of
literally,
like,
his character changes.
forgetting
so,
how you did it before?
He
Like,
like
very
changes
glib.
so drastically. Like you see him like,
It's like
in the
he
middle
was-
of the movie going like, "Hey, you fucking messed up. Give me the suit. You're out. I'm done with you."
Right.
And at the end of the movie, he like hugs him and he's just like,
Yeah, he did a good job.
I'm
but
proud of you. And it's like, hang on, like that's such a drastic change.
Well, where's that depth to Tony that we've seen developing over the last like 5 films,
Yeah.
right? Now he seems to be back to being a vapid dick from the first one. Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
kind of like,
But this is why it's like, I don't care. Like, it's not his movie, and everybody was worried this is Iron Man 4 with Spider-Man. and
Literally,
it's
just as
fucking
did
not,
you hear?
dude.
Like when
Sure.
the lights went down at the midnight showing we were at last night. Somebody went, "Is this Iron Man 4?" Just as a joke to their friend. Did you hear them
Right.
say that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Like so that's like a very like
That's everybody's perception.
Wide
of it.
concern,
Everybody
yeah.
thinks that it's gonna be just who
and
cares?
I guess
yeah.
you could consider, you know, comic book writers. People take different takes on characters, and Tony is not consistent among like 6 different writers in the book. So it makes sense that different screenplays will have Tony.
I really don't like the way I've never liked it. Not in it, and the trailer is a little bit of a different performance, but it's still the same problem. I've never liked how he performs the "don't do anything I would do."
Yeah.
And definitely do anything I wouldn't do. I don't like the way he does that. I don't know why. I just have a little bit.
I
of
just
sort
don't,
of-
I don't think I love the line. I think it's a
Sure.
little obvious.
Yeah.
And which is fine. I mean, they're not all going to be absolute zingers.
Yeah.
It's
But-
it's just interesting because it doesn't feel like he was thinking about it really before the day he got there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and honestly, I felt the same way about Marissa Tomei. But it's like weird. Then you have like so it's these older actors who are supposedly really good, and even Robert Downey
doing a
Jr.
fucking
is
good job.
the stranger one because it's more like, dude, you've been doing this for like 10 years. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, but it's kind of like where
But-
I don't think that Johnny Depp needs to practice before he gets back to Captain Jack Sparrow. He just kind of like steps.
But he
into
should.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he hasn't been
And-
Captain Jack
and-
Sparrow
so
really
should-
since the first one.
So
That's
should
true.
Robert Downey Jr. You know, you should try to remember where he's at and what this is. Like, even the fact that he's playful in the car with Peter, like, and to me, conceptual, if you're thinking about sitting down to write, and this is a total nitpick because, again, the movie largely beginning to end, scene by scene, I fucking love. But, like, you would think, okay, he just got back from Civil War,
Yeah.
at the end of which
He got his ass handed to him.
He got
Yeah,
Cap's
he's not
shield
happy.
stuck into his fucking heart, and then Cap is like, keep the shield. You would think that car ride would be weird.
Yeah.
That Peter would be in the car and like know something was up.
Yeah, and
And, like-
also like kind of having Peter be like, so when's our next mission? And
that's-
have him be depressed,
be
like
like,
kind of like, I don't.
These aren't
But
Exactly.
This isn't
I
fun,
I
kid.
understand why they wouldn't do that because that gives him, a
Yeah,
thing
you're right.
to do in that. It gives
You're
him
right.
an arc to have in the movie.
it distracts
which is-
from the arc of the film.
But
Correct.
you know,
So
how-
here we're running into an interesting crossroads then here. So we're talking
'Cause I
about
want-
was that what you were going to say, where it's like we have the universe Tony and then we have this film Tony, and how they're kind of at odds with each other. And we're going to likely see this more and more as we have a universal narrative separate from the film narrative, which is a new
yeah.
problem to run into.
I give it a pass because it is so smart. Again, I said this, but it's the best puzzle piece of any of these ever. It fits in so nicely. And with Tony, it's like they're so smart about everything else. How like the connecting dots on both end of it. You're like, I love that. Again, the climax of this movie happens because the Avengers got a new house. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the whole reason that we get a fight at the
Yeah,
end.
a lot of people have been saying it feels inconsequential, which I don't agree with. I think actually when future movies start coming out, you're going to be realizing how important this movie is.
And,
And
it's
also
fully
that's
consequential.
stupid.
Yeah, it's fully consequential to
Yeah.
Peter.
To
And
Pe-
why
yeah.
should it? It doesn't need to have universal.
I love what you said
importance.
about it. Actually, you said it like I wasn't ready for how innocent it was going to be.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody. There's no blood. There's no blood at all in this movie.
But somehow the combat and the like physical
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, Peter gets a few
feels-
bruises and cuts.
It
but
feels
Yeah.
packed
Yeah.
every time.
there's one thing about the movie we haven't talked about yet, and obviously Michael Keaton was great, and we can gush about him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of
What about the
course.
twist?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that took me
Incredible.
completely by surprise. She exists as an impetus for him to have a personal connection to the Vulture,
Completely, yes.
to raise that stakes,
And
then-
also
now
to
we
have a
him.
desire in high school as well, to have something he wants in
Yeah,
high
it's
school.
just
Right.
the high school
She's not
crush.
really a character.
Right.
She's just teenage girl.
And I mean, and I bet we'll probably see him come back at some point, especially if we have Osborn coming forward, because now he has experience in building alien tech, which
Right.
I mean will probably be the Osborn Steez as well. He has significance because he knows Peter's identity now.
It's also interesting as well if I mean this is a bit of a different conversation, but if Stark has sold that building to Osborn, that's a very interesting. Like he's done
Yeah.
business with another guy.
And,
who's
and
bad.
they say that Michael Keaton says that a lot.
Yeah.
He's like, where do you think these guys get
Yeah.
these weapons?
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
sells
yeah.
these weapons.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah,
I love
he
that as well
100%
about it.
is.
That like I think he basically says, if you were older, this would be a different conversation.
Yeah.
like he was like, you're too young to understand.
But
this.
he's also wrong too because
He
he's
is
a
wrong, yeah.
killer.
Yeah.
He's ruthless.
Yeah.
So it's like it's one of those things
not
where like
the
I
answer.
get like I'm on board, but I also see him doing these things that make me believe he's a bad person.
Totally, yeah.
But it's just the final point I wanted to make about him knowing Peter's identity and
Yeah.
still being there. That's a remarkable amount of cards to give to a villain in a Marvel
Yeah.
movie. That's a remarkable amount of significance and weight. And I'm just like, fuck, man. Okay, maybe there's going to be a bit more layers to this whole thing.
Also,
moving forward.
an incredible villain conclusion by just the fact that he doesn't give it
Yeah.
to Matt Gargan.
I would love to see Vinny D as a main character in the film Spider, because I always loved stories that pit Spider-Man against the Kingpin because they're very
Oh, I
moral.
thought you were talking about Vin Diesel. I really did. I'm not joking. I was like, Vinny D.
Suddenly, the Vin Diesel
I was
is.
like, who would you want
is the
him to be?
Kingpin.
Doc Ock.
I need the precious tritium.
If there's one thing that I need, if there's one
That fucking
element
laugh he does in Space State.
I need precious tritium to continue.
I love the fact, like, and I mean, Kingpin is the other example of a villain that has layers. Like, you're creating these villains. That's what makes the Marvel Universe so special. Is like you have these villains and these heroes interacting, and they're never static. They're like always. They're always kind of on moral sides, but there's never just one way that things are. There's always a layer to everything, and
Yeah,
that's what this MCU needs to go to the next level.
Because like obviously at the end of this, like Scorpion is the one who's just like, I've got some people on the outside who would like to teach
Right.
Spider-Man a lesson. I don't want Scorpion to be the guy who's rounding up the villains.
Yeah.
But he's
Like,
nuts. So it's that thing
obviously.
of like he's
so
just,
like if it turned out that
He's gonna get
Kingpin was the guy pulling the strings,
Sure.
that would be great.
I think you also brought up the fact that, like, okay, so Sony will not stop teasing the Sinister Six.
Yeah, they will
Like,
not stop teasing the Sinister Six. Like from Amazing Spider-Man 1, they've been teasing the Sinister Six.
Right, and they're like,
with
we
this
still
man
got it. We're still doing
with
it.
the Man in the Shadows, and then like obviously at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, they really fucking push
Sure.
it. And yeah, they just keep like, you know, at the end it's like Green Goblin looking in the mirror and being like, I've got a team. Let's make it small.
Yeah.
You know, and then now they're doing the same thing again. It's like, fucking just do it now, please.
All right.
thinking about a
I'm
team
yeah.
of like, let's say 6 guys.
Sure.
Can you get 6 Sinister
We get
guys?
6
Do you think should they be evil? I don't know. Evil's a little light. I'm thinking.
Do you think that they would make do you think that like the 3rd Spider-Man movie will be called Spider-Man Sinister Six?
No, Spider-Man 6 they should save it for the 6th one.
Right.
Spider-Man Sinister, and then that's the total.
The things that really get me jazzed are like, what is the next movie with MJ and Peter going to be like? What's that dynamic
yeah.
going to be like? And the idea that they've hinted that Donald Glover is playing the Prowler, and that Miles Morales exists in that
right.
world. Like that sort of stuff is like, oh my god, you're like, even if you don't bring this up for 3 movies, you've planted that seed.
Sure.
That now you can now point to it and go, yeah, we set this up.
And then hopefully it's not Doctor Strange, but it's taken. Like,
Yeah.
hopefully it actually is a thing where we don't go back and they're like, they were doing Miles.
Yeah.
What? He didn't.
But isn't that the funny change now? Because back then, like, that was just obviously a wink and a nod.
joke, yeah.
It was
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
a joke and an English. But now we have to like, oh, well, that means that this
Everything can be
exists in
scrutinized.
Everything,
Yeah.
yes, because everything has significance.
Doctor
now.
Strange, but it's taken. What?
Sure. By who?
How? This was 11 years ago.
I really loved it, dude. I
really did as well.
And I
Yeah.
think probably one of the better post credits. So funny.
I know. It's good
because
that
he's like laughing as
I
well.
know.
Like it
knows?
starts
Oh, yeah,
as
dude.
like what you were saying, it starts a little bit meta with like a wink of just like, business is good. Here
Yeah.
comes the Marvel logo.
Yeah.
And then it ends with literally Captain America looking at
Yeah.
you and being like, sometimes
So-
these things don't work out.
You need patience, and just the great line of like, so how many more of these do we have? We've seen like 6 of them throughout the movie for like weirdly specific things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like and that's
So you got
to,
detention.
to
Yeah.
pay off
good.
on a joke for at the post credit stinger is like, wow.
One of the best jokes in it as well is when in that video in the gym class when he goes, my good friend, your gym teacher, and he points, and it's the wrong side.
Very
Like,
good.
and it didn't get a big laugh tonight when we saw it.
Really?
Because I think it's such a and it's not done in a close, it's done in a wide shot, and
Yeah.
it's like done like, on the cut, like he like points and then he waves.
I think about first of all, Hannibal Buress plays the
yeah,
gym. Where he goes
perfect.
like, I think this guy's like a war criminal or something now, but
Yeah.
whatever, we'll
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I mean, that's
you can
definitely
tell that was an
improvised.
ad lib because
Yeah, and there's a
like
little
a
bit as
war
well when
criminal.
like somebody like dings the bell and goes, "That is not true," and then the teacher goes, "Hey, what have I told you about using the bell for comedy purposes?"
there's a lot of
Yeah.
the high school stuff is very funny.
He's
Yeah.
funny, man. Martin Starr. Is that his name?
The guy who plays the teacher.
Yeah,
Oh man, the like.
I believe.
And I don't want to. I would not want to lose.
A student
A
on a
student
field
on a-
trip.
Not again.
And then it freeze frames on him, like doing like
Zooms
a
in.
out of focus, like on him. Yeah.
It's funny as fuck, man.
All right, we're gonna bring this home.
Oh shit. Okay.
We
Cool.
gotta bring this home.
Coming.
I really liked it.
We're gonna do 3-headeds. Yeah. Okay. So one word, final thoughts, and then we'll do 3-headed.
One word.
One
Or,
word.
fuck. I mean, one sentence, final
One
thoughts.
sentence, final thoughts.
Good.
Good.
One sentence, final thought. Matched my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Fun as hell and so good. And couple things not good, but good.
Mm-hmm.
Tim.
This is the best Spider-Man movie that has been made yet.
Oh shit! You can't just end it there. We need to talk about that.
I'll talk. You know what? No, I don't want to justify it.
Dom, calm down. You think so?
Yeah, I think it beats I think it beats Spider-Man 2. I think it beats Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man film.
Really?
I think it clears Spider-Man 3 is the #1 best Spider-Man movie. But yeah, I think it's the most
As far
well-rounded.
as a Spider-Man movie.
They're
Yeah, as far as
incomparable. It's hard,
Spider-Man
though.
2 is a good movie. This is the best Spider-Man adaptation ever made.
I think that's probably true, yes.
Like it's very good. It's not the most faithful in the world, but it's like understands the source material.
It understands
and
the
adapts it in an
character.
exactly.
Yeah.
It adapts it in an intelligent and modern way.
Yeah,
in a way
Yeah,
that
I
I'm
love that they're like.
incredibly
I
impressed
love that they're being like, "Fuck it, he's a fucking millennial. He vlogs with his phone.
Yeah.
he does all this shit. Like they're just like fucking accept
And
it.
also, they're setting
Yeah.
up that he uses cameras and
Yeah.
like he's kind of interested in
Yeah.
that
A
kind
film
of
by
thing.
Peter Parker.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
right.
Like I want that. Like if you, I was telling like Dom, like if they were gonna do, like I want them to do what they did with Judi Dench when they just kept her being M in James Bond,
Yeah.
even when they did a reboot because they were like, she's too good, we can't get rid of her. If they brought in J.K. Simmons again to be J.J.
Right.
Jameson, no one would be disappointed. We'd all be like,
Yeah.
we that's fine. That's fine.
Well, DC put the kibosh on that by
Yeah,
casting
yeah.
him
Totally,
as Jim
yeah.
Gordon.
But
I'm sure
if-
there's something in that contract.
If they were going to cast somebody right now, the first person that comes to my mind is Terry Crews.
Yeah, that's interesting, and that would keep with like the diversity hires that they kind of want to stick with.
Yeah.
My thought was, oh gosh, Dr. Cox, who is
John C. McGinley.
John C. McGinley. I think he would be a great J.K. or a great J.K. Simmons. He would be fantastic.
Peter.
You watch
No.
Scrubs? Have you ever seen Scrubs?
Nah,
it's a single
Yeah,
camera
I've seen
sitcom.
Scrubs.
It's very, very funny. Yeah.
I've seen Scrubs, but I
You
don't know
would
who.
really like Scrubs.
John C.
I've seen
McGinley.
Scrubs a
He's
lot.
like his mentor character.
What,
He's
what
like
I
the
meant
mean
was
doctor.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Dr. Cox.
He's the mean, Dr. Cox. He's the mean doctor.
John C.
who's like
McGinley.
his
Yeah,
like mentor.
the guy who's a bit buff.
Yes.
Yeah,
sort of.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John C.
yeah,
curly
yeah,
hair.
yeah.
He's very good.
McGinley Cox.
No, I think you stop saying Cox. I think that you're right. I think he would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, he would be.
Yeah.
good.
Okay. We'll do Three-Headed Critic, and we'll get the fudge
Did you do
out of
your
here.
Oh yeah, you said.
I did.
that's
I dropped that.
He said best
I dropped that
Spider-Man
bomb
movie
that
ever.
made you fuck up my table. So
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Okay. Tony Stark. I love that the Mandarin is real. I like that they're like, no, we did something not so racist, and they're like, actually, no, he exists. He's Chinese as shit.
We're just chilling out. Here's what we're gonna do. In a couple years, we got a Spider-Man movie coming out. Where we're gonna make sure a lot of them aren't white, and then you're gonna get the Mandarin, and it's gonna be bad.
I like that they're. I love the idea that they're building up goodwill until they have the fucking Fu Manchu guy.
Yeah, Feige.
He looks like a.
Feige's sitting in the office in like 2006, and he's like, "I need the Mandarin
Again.
in all of his
Yeah.
terrible
Do you know what as well? Like,
racist
We need him to
glory."
look like Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China.
I think in this version, I would like to see Craven the Hunter.
Sure,
Yeah,
I'd
dude.
like to see him.
might be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes
I
you
think also
wonder, though,
Mysterio would probably
Are they
work.
I
gonna
guess
do
in other
human
words,
Craven
you could
or-
say that you're Craven the Hunter.
Craven.
Oh, we need to close this up. I'm sorry.
sorry,
Once you
sorry.
finish your point, I'm sorry.
What was I saying?
I don't something about Craven.
Or Mysterio.
I was gonna say, is he gonna have powers or is he gonna be a guy?
Right.
Are they gonna be
He's
like?
going to be a guy, isn't he?
Well, so they've really made an interesting play with this alien tech thing because they can explain everything.
Yeah.
Everybody, every character
Is
superhero they've ever
Osborn-
wanted.
Osborn's gonna be. We're gonna get the Green Goblin. I don't give a fuck. I want to say it.
Uh-huh.
Is it Hulk? Is he like doing? Is it
Is the
gonna
Green
be,
Goblin the
is he
Hulk?
try-
No,
no.
it's a different character.
Is he trying to recreate the Hulk stuff?
Wait, is the green? Because the green and is the
I'd love to see him on a glider.
It's like it's like on the ground. It's not moving. Just struggling to lift off.
Spider-Man, Iron Man? What?
Three-headed critic. Dom me, Jack, Dom, whatever. Until the
Dom
rules of this
starting.
game is we all say one word. It goes around in a circle until it's a complete thought about the film. So Damo, kick it off.
There
Are
Some
Spider-Man
moments
in.
the
film
But
there
are
Peter
Parker
moments.
too.
I mean, that's true. I guess that's
not
good
done.
We're not
enough.
done yet. We're not done yet.
Dumb. God damn it. Comma.
Does
Does that count?
Is that your thing?
No. Is that? I mean, are we gonna
No,
establish?
please.
is
Okay,
gra-
you can see. You
okay.
can put a comma. Okay.
Okay, there's a comma there.
There, Peter. Wait.
Peter Parker's Moments 2.
Peter Parker's Moments 2. And
Also,
You really set me up here. Okay. I
Iron Man.
this has been Reasonable Beef. Thank you so much for joining us for Rebirth Visual Beef. Hey, thank you so much, Jack.
No, thank you very
being
much for
here.
having me. It's always a pleasure.
It's so fantastic. Thank you, Dom. Yeah. For that.
So hang on, let me just recreate that sentence.
Yeah.
So
There
are some Spider-Man moments
in the film,
and also Peter Parker moments too. And also Iron Man.
Iron Man moments.
Oh, lovely. All right, well, thank you guys so much. It's been Reasonable Beef. Hey, if you like this, head on over to www.patreon.com/reasonablebeef and give money to help make this happen. It's not cheap, but it's good. I like making it. It's cheap. It's
I like
really
listening
cheap.
to it. I like being on it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a good time. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank
go
you, Dom. Thank
go
you,
see
Jack.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
go see it.
Seriously, see it in theaters.
Please
I don't know
reward
if
them.
IMAX is super necessary, but it's
No, it ain't.
it's worth a watch.
Go to somewhere where they play it real nice and loud.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.
See you forever. Bye.